Did you ever get that thing that I sent you?
Yeah, I didn't get to look at it. We were pretty busy.
Sorry, it's only today because I didn't look at this book until today.
This is pretty. Is this new?
There was a version in the Harold County Reports, but it's a skinny blue one instead of this one. It's the same thing.
Where do you want us to start?
So you will be starting right after the candle, after we do all the Chanukah candles.
Okay. And do you want us to?
53.
And do you want us to?
That was close. So after all the Chanukah candles, there'll be an intro, and then you'll do 53 and to 54. So it's the bottom of 53 to the top of 54, and then we go right to the Kiddush, which is page 63. I want to say, try 63. Do you want to do it all? You could do Kiddush.
That's my book. Do it here. Yours is all marked up. Oh, it's pretty. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you doing today? Candles already in boxes and in the light candles. We talked about that. You're not on our list.
Use this one.
Well, I have another one. You want to just swing this around when we're done and stuff? I can give you another one instead, but.
That's okay.
65 a minute ago. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm good. Sorry? Did you bring it? No. Thank you. All right, so we're going to light menorah. Thank you for everybody who came out today. It is what I call a true sign of dedication. Get it? Somebody laughed, thank you. Because Chanukah means dedication. See? These are the jokes, guys. Let me explain what's going on. It's probably the most efficient way of letting this happen. Here's your first trivia question of the day. Most of you already know this, but these are one of those questions that, well, first of all, does everybody have one of these books? Because we're not using the gray books. Make sure you got one of these. You're welcome to this, but it's not... Make sure you get one of these books, Connor, before you come in. You got one? Everybody make sure you get one. So it's a shorter, family-friendly miracles of Hanukkah, though. The oil just didn't last long enough here. I don't know. So the way this works is this. Here's your trivia question. Shabbat or Chanukah? Okay, raise your hand if you think Hanukkah is more important. Raise your hand if you think Shabbat is more important. Okay, you guys are good. Shabbat is more important, and therefore, which candles do we have to light first? The Shabbat candles or the Chanukah candles? She said Chanukah candles. Is she right? Yes, she's right. We have to light Chanukah candles first Because as soon as we light the Shabbat candles, we're saying it's Shabbat, and then we're not supposed to what it should be. These kids the correct answer, so they're good. It is Shabbat, because Shabbat candles, we have to light the Chanukah candles of all time. Except I saw, there it is, the Gimel. I love that one. I like it. So what's going to happen is, in order for us to service, we have to light the Chanukah candles. Knows that it's dark outside. It's cold inside, but it's dark outside because it's dark out the light that's already lit. And so I'm going to come here, I'm going to light everybody's shamash, and from the shamash, you are going to get to light your candles. So come on up, and if you don't have a chanukiyah, I brought extras. So some of them that are here, come on, put your candles in. Everybody come on up. Try to give yourself a little bit of room so you're not burning into other people, but come on up. Make sure we provide candles. So if you have a shamash, this is the best part about Chanukah and darkness and light. And that is, if you have darkness and you have one candle, and you light one candle, that one candle can make things very bright. Sorry, I'm doing this the wrong way, like this. Here. Ooh, sorry. Yeah, don't keep your fingers under it. That would be a crazy idea. You okay? The wax is not going to kill you, and it's not going to burn you forever, I promise. It just startles you. All right. I'm going to do yours. Ready? So we don't light the candles until after we say the blessings, though. All right. So we're going to say the blessings. You can hold your shamash if you need to. Anybody else needs? These are the ones that I brought. You could have one. Anybody? You want one? Kamikers, you going to light? You could light these too. We've got extras. I brought extras. Sorry, didn't mean to call you by name. Margaret, did you want to do one? They're operating on your hand. This one could be for Kaminkers is fine. This one, Mark Slutsky made. Thank you, Mark. All right, this one. Margaret, you want to light this one? I don't know whose that one is. That one's really pretty too. All right, this one is missing a center candle, so we can light it with another person's shamash. So there are two blessings. And the candle blessings are on page, it's back here somewhere in the teeny letters. I got my teeny thing. On page 64, please rise for this. Pretend that everybody's at home. If you didn't bring a chanukiyah, you may want to come and gather around anyway. You're welcome to. Or you can stand back there, and it is fine, but you have to help us sing. There are two blessings we sing on every night. There's only one there are three on the first night, but it's not the first night, it's our fourth night. So the two blessings start at the bottom of page 64. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim la'avoteinu bayamim ha'hem ba'azman hazeh. And now you light them from the newest candle to the oldest candle. So most of us, it's from the inside to the outside. And if you light it in the wrong direction, it's okay. So does anybody know why we have a shamash? While you're lighting, I'm going to tell you some things. We have a shamash because the candles, the 8 candles, represent the miracles. And so because of the fact that they are, you can't sit down for a while, but you could go back to your seats if you want. And if you have cameras, now is a good time to take pictures. Anybody who can take a picture now would be really helpful. Take some pictures. I'm going to take pictures of you guys this way. So because we're not allowed to use the lights of the candles, we have a shamash. What does that mean? That means we're in the middle of the darkest time of the year, and it's dark outside, and we have to wait till sundown, and we have to light candles, and we're not allowed to use the light of the candles, and that's why we have a shamash. It's not because we need a helper candle to light other candles. It's because we need to be able to have a candle that we can use the light of, because we can't use any of the other candles. So now we turn back in our books to page, we're going to have to do that after, to page 53. 53, and I invite the Kaminkar Maisel family up to come over to here, please. You have to stay here. They're here. That includes Rachel. You have to talk into the microphone. Okay. Thank you very much. Page 53. And we're ready to light Shabbat candles. Welcome Shabbat.
The Shabbat lights. Hannah Senesh, the poet, was one of our Maccabees. In 1944, at the age of 21, she parachuted into Europe and gave her life trying to save Jews from the Nazis. She wrote, please join me. Blessed
is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart's secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadnekdel shel Shabbat.
Amen.
We praise you, God of time and space, source of blessing, for mitzvah that makes us holy, and for the joy of this mitzvah, the kindling of light.
Baruch atah, I'm doing the wrong eye. Eloheinu melech haolam.
Thank you.
Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we open our eyes and we lift up the cup and we turn to page 8 for the Kiddush.
68.
Praise be our God for the mitzvot that help us reach for holiness, and for the love that gives us Shabbat, the sign of creation. This is our day of days, a precious gift, a reminder of our going out from Egypt. We give thanks for the holiness of Shabbat, our day of rest. Everyone join us. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Borei pari hagafen l'chaim.
Drink.
It says drink. Now, you are allowed to be seated if you say Shabbat Shalom to somebody that didn't come in with you, that somebody did come in with you. Chag Sameach, happy holidays to somebody who comes in with you, somebody who doesn't come in with you.
Okay, Mom.
I hope you all noticed that the heater is here. There's one back there, but sitting in the front was a good idea. It's getting toasty by these candles. We're going to turn back to page 51. And we're going to jump around a lot in this book. And I forgot to tell you to do this. So I want everybody to lean your head back if you can and take a deep breath, because if you go forward, then you're going to blow out the candle. So lean your head back and take a deep breath and blow out. Hot air, good hot air. Ready? Try again. Take a deep breath. Blow out. Okay, that's not very relaxing. But we were already excited about lighting candles, so I couldn't do it before, and then I didn't want to blow out the candles, and sorry. Okay, make those shoulders loose. Page 51. Chanukah is a festival of light. Each day, another candle glows. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, until the menorah is filled full of candles and the room is full of light. On Chanukah, we learn that light can grow. If we do our part, it is we who must kindle a light for ourselves and others. We continue on the next page at the top of the page. This just says Maccabee, and this time I think they mean Judah, and his followers, with God leading them on, recovered the temple and the city. So it happened on the very day when the sanctuary had been profaned, the cleansing of the temple took place on the 25th day of Kislev. Do you know what day it is today? We just started the 28th day of Kislev. So I hope you remembered to start Chanukah before now, but this is telling about the 25th of Kislev. They celebrated it for 8 days with rejoicing in the manner of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. Since but a little while before, at the festival of Sukkot, they had been wandering about like wild beasts in the mountains and caves. We weren't allowed to be here then. And they decreed and confirmed by vote that the entire people of the Jews should celebrate these days every year. They said that way back then when they dedicated the temple then. So did we listen? Yes, we're doing it now. We're celebrating now. We're on page 52 and we're going to sing a song. We're going to sing it first, page 52, first in Hebrew on 52, and then we're going to sing it again in English on page 53. Mi yimalel gvurot Yisrael otan mi yimne hen bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ham shma bayamim hahem bazman hazeh makabi moshiach ufodeh uvyamenu kol ham Yisrael Yitached yakum lehigael. And all I'm saying is, if you're not louder for the English, we're going to do the Hebrew again. We're on page 53. You got to sing louder for this. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. Hark! And these, in days of yore in Israel's ancient land, this is a terrible version, brave Maccabeus led his faithful band. And now all Israel must as one arise, redeem itself through deed and sacrifice. Try it again. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. One more time. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. That was good. I'm not going to make you do it as a round now, but that was very good. We continue on page 55, and we read responsively. With joy and gratitude, we greet this season of our freedom. Not by We forgot to give you your microphone. There you go. Sorry. Since that day, when the land was re-won and the temple restored to the worship of the Holy One of Israel,
All who suffer find healing and peace.
the next page. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותיה וימליך מלכותיה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך דקודשה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
At the bottom of page 57, we read responsively. And now, Israel, what is it that your God asks of you?
To honor God, walking in God's ways with love, serving God with heart and soul.
God says, I call you to join me.
By opening blind eyes, bringing out of prison the captive, and from their dungeons those who sit in darkness.
With one voice, we pledge ourselves to the one God. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. be seated. We continue with the chant in the middle of page 58. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We read together. You shall love the eternal God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am the eternal God who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the eternal God. Happy is the one whose trust is in God. God keeps faith forever, doing justice for the oppressed, giving bread to the hungry, setting the captive free, and opening the sightless eye, lifting up the fallen, taking care of the stranger. The eternal God has called us to bring hope to the oppressed and healing to the broken, to proclaim liberty to the enslaved, freedom to those in shackles. As we saw your saving power displayed in Egypt, so shall all at freedom's shore rejoice and sing your praise. And before we sing Mi Chamocha at the top of page 60, I wanted to remind you, who were the heroes again in the Chanukah story? What were their names? The what? Maccabees. The Maccabees. So why were they called the Maccabees? Why? Why were they called the Maccabees? That's right, because they had elephants. It's true, they fought against the elephants. You are right, that's a good story. We should talk about that story later. But why were the guys who fought against the elephants called the Maccabees? Who knows? What did you hear? Somebody else has to know an answer. You can't steal all the answers. Why? What's one of the reasons why they're Maccabees? Max knew an answer? Max, give me an answer. Oh, that's not the... You're supposed to give me the other answer. What's the other answer? Hammer. So Maccabee means hammer because they used to sneak up on people and whack them on the head with their shovels. They were the hammer. They came down hard. But the secret reason that Max already told you has to do with this song. If you look at the first 4 words of this prayer, comes from the scriptures. It says, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. And you look at the first 4 words, it means, who is like you among the gods that are worshipped? Here were these Greek Assyrians who had come in and tried to force us to worship their gods. So in that world then, people were worshiping many, many gods. And we were saying, we like our God. And we use those 4 words, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Who is like our God? Who is like you among the gods, Adonai? And so that's not it. If you take the first letter of all those 4 words, you've got a m, a mem, a k, a b, and a y, and those spell Maccabee. So the name comes from being a hammer. It comes from the fact that they were saying and fighting for the freedom that says, who is like you among the gods that are worshipped? And we will sing the song now, the Maccabee song. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. Baruch atah Adonai Gaal Yisrael, we thank you, the God who made us to be free. We take a moment now for silent prayer.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, be acceptable to you. God, my rock and my redeemer. God, my rock and redeemer.
We continue on page 62. On the 25th day of Kislev, the soldiers of King Antiochus went into the temple. There, on God's altar, they placed an idol and burnt incense in its honor. Then they said, the people of Judea must give up the Torah. They must break the Sabbath and all the commandments. But many refused. The women stood fast and encouraged the men, their brothers and sons. Then they chose to die rather than give up the Holy Torah. One day, the king's troops came to the city of Modi'in. There they found Mattathias. They said, you are a great and honored leader here, with many members of your family to help you. If you will be the first to do as the king commands, he will favor you and reward you greatly. But Mattathias answered in a loud voice, even if all the world obeys the king, we will be true to our faith. Women, children, men, we will hold fast to our religion. We will not obey the king. We will not be moved so much as an inch. And Mattathias cried out, come with me, you who love your Torah and your God. So they fled to the mountains, Mattathias, his sons, all the Maccabees, everyone who followed them. The struggle for freedom began. Many who remained behind fought in their own ways. The women of Israel were steadfast for their people and their God. After a time, when Mattathias saw that his death was near, he said to his sons, be faithful to the Torah and be ready to give your lives for your God and your people. Have courage and hold fast to your faith, and you will gain honor. Then Judah, called Maccabee, took command in his father's place. With his brothers and helpers, he led the fight for all Israel. They battled like lions. Their enemies fled before them. All Israel was glad and blessed them. Their memory is blessed forever. When the people trembled at the sight of the enemy and its number, when they said, how can we, so few in number, hope to overcome so great a host? Judah replied, God can save by many or by few. It makes no difference. We fight for our lives and our laws. All shall see that there is one who saves Israel. Judah then led them into battle and crushed the enemy. Many fell, and the rest fled. Then the women led the people in praise. They sang to the one God, who is good, whose mercy is everlasting. Then, on the 25th day of Kislev, the very day on which God's altar had been defiled, the temple was dedicated anew. There was singing and dancing as the people praised the Eternal One, in whose cause they had won a great victory. They celebrated the temple's dedication for 8 nights. The people were filled with gladness. 8 days. Then they said, "Let this celebration be kept every year at this season. Let the dedication of the temple be observed with joy for 8 days." And so to this day we keep faith with the Maccabees and all who are loyal to the Torah of our people. We celebrate the victory of light over darkness, of the few over the many, of the weak over the mighty. For it was not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit of God that our people lived. Thus do we too hope to live by that Spirit, keeping the light of Chanukah kindled in our homes and our hearts. At this point in our service, our prayers and our hearts turn to those who are ill or recuperating. And I invite you to call out names for whom you would like us to pray if you know people who are ill. Perlman.
Sister Mary Jo.
For all these names and for the names we hold in our hearts, we say, Baruch Atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. We praise you, O God. You heal the sick. And we add, Mishaberach Avotenu V'imotenu, may the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom and protecting us in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve, even if they're retired. May they return home safely. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. When I was in Israel, I was struck by the fact, and I never thought about it before, about the fact that that Chanukah is in many ways, look at that silly face, he's on his way to Israel, he's already there. Chanukah is in many ways a celebration of a military victory. And I never thought of it that way before. I thought of it as a warm and fuzzy kind of family holiday. And when I was in Israel, I have to tell you, it was one of the most powerful things to know that I was in a place where the military were defending me because of who I was, and they were defending me. And I didn't have to worry for a second that anybody was going to turn against me because of who I was in that country. And it was an eye-opening thing. I saw military in new ways because of that. I came to, as you've heard me tell stories many times, a new appreciation for the American military and the way that they fight for us and for being in this country and the freedom that we have. But I have to tell you, it was a very special feeling in Israel. I wanted to tie Chanukah for a moment with the Torah portion of the week. And they feel like they're totally unconnected. And so if you want to think more about the Torah portion, I invite you to come tomorrow. That's my only commercial for Torah study tomorrow morning. But the Torah portion is Joseph is the new the king, the Pharaoh has dreams, and the Joseph interprets the dreams, and Joseph becomes the new prime minister, viceroy, whatever. He's like the second in command. He's in some ways arguably the second most important human on the planet. And he has children. And the second child, and we know his children's names, because if we have sons, then every week we're supposed to bless our sons by his children's names. We're supposed to say, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. And so Ephraim was actually the second son. And there's a line in there where it says, and he named his son Ephraim, and he gave them Hebrew names, and that's an important thing for us to remember. And he called his son Ephraim because Ephraim comes from the word for, I'll tell you what, we just said the blessing. When we bless the wine, we say borei peri. Peri means fruit. And the Ephraim, the pa and the fa are the same letter in Hebrew. So the Ephraim part is the same thing as pre. It's saying, I will be fruitful. So that's what he was saying, Ephraim, I will be fruitful. And his line was, I'm going to call him Ephraim. And he said, because I am fruitful. And he said, in the land of my affliction. And so that really bugged the rabbis, because those words, in the land of my affliction, like, he's the coolest guy on the planet. Bill Gates, I don't know, he's up there, And they said, how could you possibly say that you're having these sons? Life is good for you. Why would you say, in the land of your affliction? So anybody have any clue what the answers were? Can you guess? I know Ivy knows. She knows every answer. Somebody other than Ivy has to answer something. Why would he say, in the land of my affliction? I want to remind you that it's more than 420 years before the end of slavery. So it was hundreds of years, actually, few generations at least, before that Pharaoh grew up who didn't remember Joseph. So it's not about slavery and affliction. So why did he say, in the land of my affliction? Or why do you think the rabbis thought he said it? What? His family wasn't gone. He was having an increased family by then. The family back in Israel and back in the Promised Land, maybe. But, and you know what? So I'm glad you said that. Did you have an answer too?
Because he had been taken by force from the land that he came from.
See, I am so glad you guys said that, because that's not what the rabbis said. And that was the part that was like, duh, because the rabbi said because he wasn't happy not to be in his own homeland. That he knew that where he was right now, as wonderful as it was for us, as wonderful as it was for him, he wasn't back where he thought he was supposed to be. But I said, this poor guy, from the time he was 17 until now, and he's already got his second child, and we know that he lived in the dungeons for a while, and then it's been years. And he's now somebody important, having kids, but he remembered that this is the land where he was in the dungeons. He started off as a slave. He was a servant, and then he was in the dungeons, in the prison for a long time, and he didn't know what was going to happen with his life. And so I think that part of what I think he was saying was what these very intelligent men and what Ivy was going to say, is that I think that sometimes I've been calling her Ivy all day, and her name is Zoe. I know her name is Zoe. I called you. No wonder you didn't stop. Duh. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad it's Shabbos. You know that? Because I needed a break. I know your name is Zoe. Thank you. That the thing that Zoe was trying to teach us a minute ago, because she's got her yarmulke on, right, is that sometimes in order for us to appreciate where we are, we had to have struggled to get to where we are. I appreciate all of you because it was a struggle to come here through the rain and the cold, and to be sitting here gathered together in the cold. And that was minor compared to what he went through. And the other part is we can sit here and be joyful during Chanukah, but there have been so many times, either in our own lives or certainly in the lives of our ancestors, where Chanukah was not an easy thing to be celebrating, where we had to struggle, we had to hide it. How many of you have read stories like in the Holocaust, where they were in the camp and they stole some scraps of potato and somehow they managed to light candles from a scrap of potato and things? I mean, there have been times where it has been very hard, and we still celebrate it because even when we weren't free, there was hope of freedom and the hope of increasing our joy, like Ephraim. That's my words for you today. Dr. Donald, would you come up and talk to us, please? How are the guys? Oh, I got to get you this thing. And you're on.
Thank you.
You're on now.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all, and thank you, and happy Hanukkah. And this is really a joyous festival tonight, and I want to thank everybody for showing up and lighting the candles. It's a lot of fun being here. We want to thank the Chanukah Mazel family for being the blessers tonight. The last night of lighting the Hanukkah candles is Tuesday evening. The bulletin website have the blessings, and you can find songs, games in the bulletin that we have today as well as on the website. Now, I was with the rabbi last night as she was at the retirement village. What was the name?
Yesterday was Waterford.
Waterford, where Jay
Night-
lives.
yeah.
Yeah. And Sunday at 3 p.m. they'll be at Montclair. Monday they'll be at the Oaks in the Community Center at 4. And Tuesday they'll be at the Oaks Tower Ballroom at 4. So if you please join the rabbi. It's a wonderful adventure. She explains Hanukkah, and last night it was a wonderful crowd, and it's just a lot of fun to be with her when she does her Hanukkah spiel. There'll be no religious school or Hebrew school until after January the 4th. Donations were made to B'nai Zion for the pulpit flowers in honor, in loving memory, actually, of Charles G. Friedenthal by his family, in loving memory of Sheldon Goshaw by Rochelle Goshaw, in loving memory of Edith Gompertz by Claire Maisel and the Chemical family. So, thank you all very much.
Thank you. So I wanted to let you know, in case you didn't hear it this way, we usually have a Hanukkah community party where we all get together for lunch and we make dreidels and stuff like that. But this year, the Sunday in Hanukkah, when we usually do it, is on winter break. So the kids have no Sunday school then. So we said, oh, you know what? So instead of everybody coming here for Hanukkah, let's celebrate by going into the community. And let's go to the places where the people can't always come out. So we said, let's go to all the retirement facilities that have at least 2 Jewish residents. Doesn't matter which congregation they belong to, let's go there. And so that's what we've been doing, and you're supposed to be coming with us. It's not supposed to be, we've got enough latkes if you come. We're trying to make it so that we're bringing the community Hanukkah party into the community. So we were already at Spring Lake, and we were already at the Waterford, and we've got 3 more nights of this, so join us. That would be really, really nice. I'm glad you're here now. I'm not complaining, but still. But if you think you're coming, let us know so that we do have enough latkes. Yesterday was shocking. We were expecting, they told us we would probably see a maximum of 10 people, and over 30 people showed up. It was really awesome. I have to tell you, it was really awesome. So please come. We continue on page 74, and if you are under the age of 13, I would like to invite you to tiptoe carefully past the heater and the flaming things. It's like a video game. Yeah. There's lava on the floor. No, there's no lava on the floor. Come on up, come up, come up, come up, and open the ark. Everyone else is turning to page 74, and you will please rise for the Aleinu. And you may not find all these words in Hebrew, but you know them, so close your eyes and say it. Don't close your eyes. There's a Torah. Open, open. There it is. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahemush, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam. Get ready. Bend your knees, and bow down. Go this way. Now lift up. Lifnei melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. You may be seated when all the Torahs are returned. Put the Torahs back. These are very huggable Torahs. They don't have to be standing up. It's okay. They just have to get the door closed. And we close that ark. And then we close the big ark once everybody's out of there. Don't close it while he's still in there. You'd have to spend the whole Shabbat there. No, you wouldn't. Close the ark, please.
Watch for me.
And you may be seated. Nice job, everybody. Nice job. Nice job. Thank you. We face the morrow with hope made stronger by the vision of a world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Please join me. Eternal One, teach us more and more to respond to the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, to pursue the blessing of peace. Help us to gain victory over evil, to bring nearer the day when all the world shall be one. On that day, the age-old dream shall come true. On that day, O God, you shall be one, and your name shall be one. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. I am sad to report that, speaking of military and smaller powers being defeated and fighting back, we have lost 2 Americans this week. We lost Sergeant First Class Ramon S. Morris. He served in the Army. He was a long-time veteran, and he was 37. And he was survived by his wife, Christina, his daughter, Ariana, mother-in-law, Donna Baum. And we lost Specialist Wyatt J. Martin, who served in the Army. He was 22. He was from Arizona, and he's survived by his parents, Julie and Brian Martin. He didn't serve as long, but he has already had already won many medals and service ribbons, and may their memories be a blessing. And since this book does not include a reading or a meditation, I want to remind you that we are still remembering, my list is over here, sorry. Those for whom we're observing the Shloshim, the 30 days, we're remembering John Meyer still, and we're remembering Joel Vernon still. And we're remembering Esther Nash Broadnax as a parent for whom we're still saying Kaddish for a year. And we're also remembering these people for Yortzites, the Yortzites of whom we're falling this week. We remember Ross Stewart Offertig. We remember Ingrid Benson and Marks Bluestein and Z. Branis, Pearl Dover, Charles Friedenthal, Sheldon Goldschall, Edith Gompertz, Leslie Gruber, Mary Grunis, Irvin Kassoff, Helen Levy, Herbert Loeb, Imogene Silber Pleiner, Armand Roos, Gloria Steiner Rubenstein, Lottie Feld-Selber, George Schanhaus, Sam Sklar, Jewel Sorkin, Jack Stein, Sylvia Terrell, Sam Wiseman, Elise Willer, and Sarah Willer. And I would like to share this with you. This was first written in Hebrew. Yesh kochavim she'oram magia arza, rak kasher hem atzmam avdu ve'enam. There are stars above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 75. The translation is found on page 76. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha barichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Amen. You may be seated. We're going to do the same thing we did last time. We're going to sing a closing song in Hebrew and then in English. And let's see which one you seem to prefer. Especially since I don't know how well we know these words. They keep messing up the words in English for us. Ma'oz tzur Yeshuati lecha nahel shabeach tikon bet tefilati v'sham toda nizabeach letakin matbeach mitzar hanabeach azemor bashir mizmor Chanukah hamizbeach azemor bashir mizmor Chanukah hamizbeach. You do it your way. Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amid the raging foes were our sheltering tower. Furious they assailed us, but your arm availed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us, and your word broke their sword when our own strength failed us. We have a variety of latkes out there that I hope you enjoy with us, but first I need everyone under the age of 13 to please come and help me bless this gorgeous challah. Hey, that's not a latke. You gotta hold this. What is it? Zoe. It is a challah bread, Zoe. You are good at this. I can't believe I've been calling you Ivy and you've been forgiving me. Ugh, you're so nice to me. All right, so let's say the blessing. What's the blessing? Let me get a microphone so I can hear you sing. Do you know what the blessing is for this? Can we start with Hamotzi Lechem and then maybe you'll remember? Hamotzi Lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together. Sneak in. As our joyful prayer is said, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Ready? Grab and take. Everybody pull. As I like to say, there is bread out there that has not been touched by all of these delightful hands. But we thank Bethany Sorky for making all the bread and the latkes. I heard she had Jay's help today. You could take some back to your family. You could take some to your family or pass it around. Be nice. How awesome is this? Look at how beautiful. And you can tell that the service is short because these candles are 1 hour long candles, some of them. I did it. All right. But are you freezing? Anybody freezing? No. You okay? All right, good. Because you're cold. Because the report is that it's going to be, another month before we're going to be getting the heater to come in. Oh. So we'll have to decide if we want to move it over. But so far, I think this is okay. I wore my pants I was wearing, and I wore my special dreidel socks and everything for you today. Please rise for the closing benediction. I had to show off my socks. I think I have socks for every day of Chanukah now. For the rabbi who's everything, they always give me more Chanukah socks. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the lights of God's face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face always be lifted up to you. May God grant you peace, and may you be a light. Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos.
Dun, 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 dun. How about, I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay. Oh dreidel, 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 now dreidel I shall play. You can keep the books that have the blessings and the songs in it if you want. Anybody who wants to stay and sing songs with me afterwards, you can. Anybody who wants to talk to me about classes, Judaica classes, can stay and talk to me if you want.